joining us or watching, this is Michael Hall,
Hello.
our artistic
Hello,
director at the Brandywine Valley Symphony. He has been with us for over a decade now.
That's right. It's hard to believe that. 11. I think it's 11 years.
11
I want to say.
years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. How things have changed over the years.
I
yeah.
know. I'm coming in. I'm still a little new to things, but it's great seeing how everything's going.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. It's great. And we've been around again. I think the orchestra's been around for about I want to say 80 years.
85.
Yeah, since 1940, I think was our first concert.
That's it. Yeah.
And I have to say, before we get going, just because it comes in my head, this story is so incredible. So our first concert was in 1940, and our very first concert was interrupted, so the story goes, by an air raid siren because we were talking about the war. So it was a test, right? It was, but it went off halfway through. They had to stop the concert and then resume it like the next day or something.
Oh,
so, isn't that funny? That's how we started. That's how we started
with a bang.
Started with a bang, exactly. Yeah.
That had nothing to do with cannons.
No, right. Yeah, no, we weren't playing 1812 at that time.
No.
It was just us playing music. But it's something. And the other thing is, when we celebrated our 80th birthday, I tried to find musicians that had played with us early on. We invited our previous conductors to come. We had this big round table, right?
Yeah.
And it was amazing to find musicians that had played in our very first concert. Some of them are living in the retirement home in Kennett.
Oh.
So when I started to put the feelers out, okay, well, who, maybe, and I thought maybe they played with us 20 or 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. Some of them played at the very first concert we ever did.
Wow.
So the roots in our community are deep and long. Right?
And that was early on.
Yeah.
It was volunteer, wasn't it?
Yes, correct. That's right. That's right. And most orchestras start that way. They start with just somebody's idea or a group of people's idea, and they want to make music, and they, I think, oftentimes they just let people know that an orchestra's forming, literally, and people, I play the violin, I play the cello, and then they sort of put things together. And so most of the time it starts off just like that. And we were a community orchestra for years. Yeah. I want to say in the 1980s, I think it was when we became professional. Okay. And I think it might have even been step by step. But we've been professional, meaning that we pay all our musicians. In a community orchestra, you don't pay the musicians at all. They come because they love to play and they're at a certain level. But when you talk about a professional orchestra, now you're talking about another level of artistry that we're lucky enough to have.
Yes.
You see, so all of our musicians are paid. A lot of them have been around for a long time, with us, and some are our core members that are people that belong to the Brandywine Valley Symphony, as it were, or that's sort of one of their main gigs. Then we have folks that will often play as what we call subs. So they'll come often, but they're not necessarily part of our orchestra. I mean, they are when they play in the concert.
Yes.
But they don't really, they're not what we call Schedule A, is how we call it. And so you have our core members, we have our imported members, or people that kind of come in and play with us. And then sometimes we have even folks that maybe have never played with us before. We have a personnel manager, and her job is to hire our musicians and let our core members know, here's our season, this is what we're doing. And then when and if we need extra musicians, she goes out and hires them. Okay. So all professional, all high level. I mean, we're lucky that where we live, here in the Brandywine Valley, we have access to such great musicians from the major centers. New York even, Philadelphia certainly, Delaware. Many of our players play in many different orchestras. They'll play in Allentown, they'll play in Reading, they'll play in Wilmington. So these are musicians that are highly seasoned, wonderful players, high artistry, and they're busy, and they play all over, including with us. So we're very lucky.
So now that we are aware of the high quality of musicians, how does that impact the repertoire that you get to choose? Is there a difference knowing the level that they can achieve?
There really is. There really is. I've worked with orchestras, youth orchestras, I've worked with community orchestras before, and professional orchestras, the whole gamut. And yes, there really is. You are freer to choose what you want. There's no limitations artistically. Isn't that a great thing to say?
Oh, that sounds amazing.
No limitations, really. It's remarkable what they can do. The issues, not the issues, but what you think about when you're programming any concert is sort of what you would like to perform, what you have an affinity with as a musician, as a conductor, what you think the orchestra can do well. Also, very importantly, what you think the audience is going to react to, how they're going to react to it. And the great thing is there's so many different pieces to choose from. So it's almost like a kid in a candy store. You're spoiled for choice because you can Beethoven, Mozart, Brahms, Schumann, you name it. Contemporary pieces that have been written, just a few years ago, for example. Great American composers. So there's so much to choose from. And yes, the great thing is it's all on the table. Certainly, there's budgetary considerations. I mean, it's not sort of what's the word? It's not glamorous to say that, but certainly and you know this very well, when you're running an orchestra, you're dealing with the budget and all that entails. So when you plan a concert, you're also thinking a little bit about, well, how many players? Because if they're all getting paid, the bigger the orchestra, the more it costs. So, you look at a whole season and you kind of, with the help of the board and of yourself and the staff, you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what can we afford and what is the best way to use the money we have to put on phenomenal concerts. That's sort of the idea.
And I think you do put on phenomenal concerts.
Oh, thank you. I have such a great time with this orchestra. I'm very lucky to have this group to work with. Absolutely. And every concert's a joy, and every concert's different. It's really a great, very happy to be part of this orchestra.
I know. We finished the fall half of our season. We're going into the spring half now.
Yep.
I know that for our family concert that we do every year, we got to do Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah, perennial favorites.
Yes. And so this upcoming concert, are there any fan favorites you think that'll be well received?
Well, yes, and that brings up the other idea of when you program, chestnuts, as they say, like real staples that most of your audience will probably know, and you like to combine that with pieces that maybe they don't know. And this is a good example coming up. Our next Masterworks is really that example. So I think the Bruch violin concerto, although it may not be familiar by the sound of it, the Bruch, the composer may not ring any bells, but the piece as a violin concerto is played quite a bit, and I think it may be a piece that people will know by hearing it.
They'll listen and they'll say, "Oh,
I've heard that
before."
exactly. So
and
I think that's one piece.
Now they get to hear the whole piece. And
that's
not
right.
just a clip of it.
Yeah, that's right. And so I think that's one piece that certainly is very often played. In fact, it's one of Bruch's most often played pieces. Now, this is a composer from the 19th century, and he actually was a little upset about it because nobody would bother to listen to his other works. He wrote tons of pieces. Isn't that funny? He wrote...
And that's the favorite.
And that's the favorite. Not only now, but then.
Oh, wow.
And so he kind of railed against it. He goes, well, listen, I've written this and I've written all these other wonderful pieces, and all anyone wants to talk about is my violin concerto. So seriously. But there's a reason why, because it's such a tuneful, powerful, beautiful piece. So there's always a reason why these pieces are played as often as they are, because they're just fantastic pieces. So I think that's a pretty popular one. On the program coming up is also a piece by Debussy, and people certainly know the composer.
Yes.
And it's a piece that's called Petite Suite. And it was originally written for piano four hands. And I've actually played it. My ex-wife and I, she was a pianist, I'm a pianist, and so we would sit down and play this piece.
Oh, wow.
And a composer, maybe 20 years later, so we're talking 1880s, Debussy wrote the piece. 1905, I think it is, a composer decided to orchestrate it, which basically means they took the piano part and wrote it for orchestra. And Debussy approved. He thought it was...
You have to get permission.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do it. He did it just, Debussy really enjoyed the arrangement, so that's what we're going to play. And it's 4 little movements. It's a suite, and a suite is often a collection of small pieces. En bateau is one of them, which has a sort of swaying like in a boat. So we have a cortege. One of the movements is called like a little procession. We have a movement called ballet. So I would describe the Debussy as bright, cheerful, colorful. Maybe not familiar to many people, but again, when you say Debussy, you have an idea. I think a lot of people of what that is going to sound like. The color. The different colors, the different style, the French style of composing,
Were you thinking by March we would need spring when you chose?
Oh, I didn't actually, but that's great. But it does have that
We're
kind
so ready
of...
for spring.
Aren't we though? Yeah, after what? It snowed today, for goodness sakes. So yeah, I think, and that's also some of it. You do think of these things. What pieces would fit together? what pieces would fit in, you know, as you say, a certain time of year perhaps, or just a certain atmosphere to try to create. So yeah, it's definitely a light and wonderful piece. That's the Debussy. Then we have the Bruch Violin Concerto, which is great. Then we have this wonderful piece called The Dances of Galanta by Kodály. Now this is a Hungarian composer. And this piece, now talk about colorful and energetic, it's a bunch of dances, and it was inspired by Kodály's hometown, and he lived in, which is now in Slovakia. So he was a composer in the 20th century that was very interested in the folk music of his country, of his town, of his culture. So you'll hear this very specific style of writing that's to do with the folk music of Eastern Europe, as now we would say. So you could imagine that kind of carefree, wild. The piece sort of builds. It starts with this dance, and it's all one piece. It doesn't stop. So it starts one after another. Things start to really heat up, and by the end, it's going so fast. The piece, it's really fantastic. I did it for the first time last summer, and I knew of it, and I never programmed it, and I did it. It was on a program that somebody else had programmed. Oh, I loved it. I thought, okay, now we got to do it with the Brandywine Valley Symphony because of the energy of it. It ends a concert extremely well. It's so energetic, so exciting, very virtuosic. It goes so fast that the orchestra I worked with last summer, they were like, oh my God, you know, because you can, you know, I often say it's easy for me to do this as fast as I want. It's a little harder if they're playing the instruments. But, you know, everyone got swept up in it, and certainly you need, talk about professional, you need a really good orchestra to really give it its due. So that's the program. Then the last piece I just want to mention very quickly is by Gabriela Lena Frank. She's an American composer from Peru. Her family is from Peru. So, and it's sort of an elegy. It's called Elegia Andina is the name of the piece. And it is a piece very atmospheric, very much expressing the culture. Here we go again, the music crossing borders, the culture of Peru and the Andes, very spiritual at times. Also imitates some of the native instruments of that part of the world. Wonderful, like the pan pipes that the clarinet sort of imitates a little bit. We have the big flute solos.
So intention in addition to musicality.
Right, exactly. Yeah, trying to represent something. You know, and for her, it's sort of her culture, her history. So that's going to start the concert. So here we go, songs without borders, as we say. So all these pieces in some way or another have this idea of music crossing borders, or you know, borders don't even, and this is what we always say, and it's so true, isn't it? Music is the universal language, and it's very, very true. No matter what kind of music you like and what kind of music you want to listen to, it's all about you know, communication, emotional communication, and so that's why it was such a wonderful concert to program, because that was the idea behind it, this idea that music can take so many different forms and have so many different influences. That's what makes it great.
This is going to be a lively concert.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. Absolutely.
Lively. I like it. Now we do have a soloist for this concert. And he is coming to us through the Young Concert Artist program. And that's a program that's been used before to select a soloist. Can you tell us why that's the one that you go for? Yeah,
they're called YCA, Young Concert Artists, and they're an agency that represents young performers. And I think there's an age limit even. I think it's like, you know, maybe there's not a bottom, but I think it's up to, I can't do it, 25 or 28. So these are exclusively young artists. And, you know, for me, I love working with young soloists, partly because they have such fresh ideas about the repertoire. Not to say, and I've had great experiences with more seasoned artists. I mean, that's a different sort of wonderful collaboration, because they have so much experience. But I don't know, it's just, there's something about a young artist, and not only what they can bring to the piece, but sort of their start of their career. So there's just a very exciting, impressionistic quality to these young artists that I just love. And we've used YCA for the past few years now. So what you do is what we have done anyways, we developed a relationship between our orchestra and their musicians, their soloists. And so literally they will come back to me and say, well, how did you enjoy so-and-so? And I said, oh, it was fantastic. I said, okay, well, we have this person and this person if you're interested. And so we kind of have been discovering their roster and the musicians that they represent. And everyone, we've had, boy, I want to say 4, maybe over the last few years.
Yes.
4 musicians from their agency. And like I said, they're just starting their career, high level, fresh ideas, wonderful to work with. That's the other thing. They're just so wonderful to work with. They're so excited to be performing with an orchestra because it's all new to them.
Shiny.
Exactly, it's all new to them. You see, so that's what's great. That's why I enjoy working with them. And they've been the agency themselves have been great. And like I said, every soloist we've had have been fantastic. And Oliver, I'm sure, will be no exception. It's funny because the way sometimes you choose and work with soloists can vary wildly. I work with folks that I've known for years, which is wonderful too, because I know their musicality and we can work together very well. I've also, in this case, I've heard, of course, Oliver play, but never met him. I've never heard him play live. So it'll be a wonderful discovery for me and for the orchestra to sit down and work through the Bruch with him. And again, I trust the agency explicitly because everybody they have is at a high level. So I think this could be another great opportunity to meet a new soloist.
Yes.
You know, the orchestra, myself, the audience.
A future Joshua Bell.
Yeah, and that's not even stretching it. I mean, you know, it's very competitive. Of course, there's many great violinists in the world, in this country. But yes, these are young people poised for really a long and illustrious career as a soloist. And that is not an easy road to hoe. And so it's very exciting to again catch these folks at the beginning of their rise. Yeah.
That is exciting.
Yeah, it sure will be.
So if somebody wanted to meet the soloist or interact with you after the concert, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, you know, one of the things we really try to do is have an opportunity to talk to our patrons. And gone are the days, you know, when the conductor would come up and, you know, their back is to the audience, you know, because that's what we have to do. But, you know what I mean? It used to be a very removed, you know, well, and also all these notions, well, I better be very quiet. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to. And so there was a disconnect, I always thought, between the orchestra and the conductor and the soloist and the audience. And we try to break that down in a number of ways. And one of the ways we do it is just to speak from the stage. Just to, you know, hello and welcome and all these sort of things. And then talk a little bit like we're doing about the pieces, what to listen for and all that. So we really try to have a much more open communication with our patrons. I say this too, though, sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too. So you go to a concert, let's say, and you really have a lot of an admiration for the musicians or the actors on stage, whatever it is. And, you know, you think, well, I'd love to say hi, but you know, they have no time for that. They're busy doing this, that, and the other. And the truth of the matter is, for everybody I've ever talked to, is that we love the chance to talk to folks. You know, we wish they would come up and feel free to come up after a rehearsal, go backstage, what have you, and just say hi. Because, you know, we do it for everybody, and it's great for us to we feel great when people come back and say we really love the show and love the concert. And so, you know, I want everyone to feel as comfortable as they can to say hi to Oliver, our soloist, or members of the orchestra, what have you. So, you know, we it's never the case that, okay, the concert's over, now we're busy and we're doing this. No, we love to talk to everybody.
The wonderful thing about being a musician is you enjoy the music, but you also get to share it.
Yeah, that's such a good point, and that's very well put, because we love playing it, but we love, part of why we play it is to share it with other people, and the orchestra especially is that way. You know, we wouldn't do what we do if it wasn't for the audience, and so that's such a big part of it. So yeah, that's right. That's what gives us joy to do that.
Yeah. To share it.
Yeah, for sure.
So you'll be sharing it at our concert, Masterworks 2, Songs Without Borders.
Songs Without Borders.
At Uptown Knauer Performing Arts Center.
Yeah. What's the date again?
March 22nd.
Right?
You've
March
got
22nd.
emails. Well, you're focusing on the rehearsal. And
Yeah.
that's the day before. That's earlier.
That's earlier. And it's funny, when I talk too about rehearsing an orchestra as good as this one, we rehearse 3 times. People sometimes ask me, well, how long does it take to rehearse? Or how long do the musicians have? So Sunday afternoon's our concert. We start rehearsing Saturday morning, the day before we start. Isn't that funny?
And everyone's able to come together.
And everyone's able to come together.
Wow, that is a challenge.
And here's another thing, the difference. So a community orchestra might rehearse every Wednesday, let's say, for like a month or a month and a half. Because again, these people have other jobs and they're coming and maybe they're not quite at the level, but they love to play. So it takes a while to kind of work things out. Here, we get in there Saturday morning. We have Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, Sunday morning dress, and then the concert. So isn't that remarkable? Because again, they know the music so well. When you get to the first rehearsal, they already know the notes. That's a given. They know all about the pieces. So now your job as the conductor is to give everyone an idea that you believe the composer had in mind, to impart to them what you're trying to do, and then everybody sort of gets on board, and then we kind of go in the direction of what we think the composer intended. And that's a lot of things, balance, dynamics, loud, soft, all that sort of stuff. But the level, you could literally conduct them on a Saturday morning and almost be ready to perform Sunday afternoon. Really. So then, again, as a conductor, you're thinking, well, if we did this way, that'd be even better. So you're just fine-tuning almost right from the start. Isn't that fun?
That is incredible.
Yeah, it's great. It's a little nerve-wracking, I will say that too, because you really, as a conductor, you have to absolutely know what you want. All the time. Every bar, you have to sort of have an idea of what you want and what you want to hear. And then if they give you something back that's different but still wonderfully musical, your mind, okay, that's great. So it's a very quick sort of give and take with you and the orchestra. You're listening, you're listening ahead to think what I want. Then you receive this wonderful music from the musicians, because they all have ideas too of what they want to do. And then you're just sort of going, okay, great, that was great. Here you stop, you go, no, you know what, I would suggest this or whatever. So you're really working on the fly very quickly, but it's wonderful when you have these kind of musicians that offer so much. So yeah, it'll be, I don't know how we got into that subject, but yeah. So it's a quick come together. Oliver will see him twice. And that's the other thing that's crazy. He'll come in Saturday night, play Saturday night, Sunday morning. So it's even a quicker connection between the soloist and the orchestra and myself.
You have to be a people person to be able to connect with people that quickly.
Yeah, and you have to, what I do with a soloist is I just, usually I want to find out what they have in mind first. And because the soloist has been, let's say that, even though he's young, he's probably playing that piece since he was, seriously, like 6 or 8 or something like that. And so whatever. So he's been playing it for years.
Dedication.
Yeah, exactly. Years and years. So as a conductor, and I've conducted it many times too, but I'm kind of letting him, okay, I like to, and he'll say, we meet beforehand. He'll say, well, I like to take this at this tempo. I want to slow down here. Here I think it's about X, Y, Z, whatever he says. And so my job really is to take that, unless I completely disagree, and then we can have a discussion. But usually, I respect who we're working with. So I take all those ideas, and then I know them, then we rehearse with the orchestra, and then I can be the conduit between him and the orchestra, you see. So I make sure I'm with him, so they're with me. So it is a quick process, but sometimes I wish it took longer, because it's so much fun to explore this music. And we have to go. If we were to have 6 rehearsals, 7 rehearsals, first of all, it would cost us a lot of money.
The budget would...
But they don't need it. That's the thing. Yes, we can always explore, and yes, we do what we can, but this is a perfect amount of rehearsals for this quality orchestra, and we can put on a great show.
So how can people come see the show?
Well, they get tickets, and again, maybe, Brittany, you can elaborate a bit on that. Of course, online, they get tickets.
Yes, online.
But they have to be careful going online. They have to make sure, right, that they go to our website.
Oh, yes, those third-party vendors.
I didn't even hear about that. So that's incredible.
It's kind of crazy, but everyone can go onto our website. And then all of the links on our website take you directly to the ticketing page.
There you
So we don't always sell the tickets directly from us. Sometimes it's from the venue we're performing at.
Gotcha.
Like Winterthur, they sell
Yes.
tickets on their website,
Right.
and Knauer, they do as well.
So when you go, so in this case, you go to Knauer's, go to our site, and we'll link them to Knauer's site to
If
get
you
the
go
tickets.
to our site,
Yeah,
it'll
okay.
take you
There
directly
you go.
to the order page
All right.
for them.
Yeah, and there's at the door.
You
Too.
can buy at the door,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Some people don't necessarily know that they think, well, geez, that's too late. I wish I could go, but you could always
You can always
show
go.
up because we'll have tickets for you. You know, I mean,
Yes.
you know, we hope, but most likely we'll have some.
Well,
We'll stick you somewhere.
If we don't, we'll be a little happy that we're sold out. But
Yeah, right, exactly. We'll put a chair. We'll bring a chair up.
Yes,
and
we'll
you
bring
can
the
have a seat.
chairs
Yeah.
out.
You won't be turned away. I'll put it that way.
That's for sure.
So yeah, another way out the door through the.
Mhm.
I guess people can come to the office too. I mean, I know that's not
Yes,
necessarily.
that has happened a few
I
times.
like that. Yeah.
We've had people who don't
Yeah.
want to go online,
Yeah.
who prefer to speak to someone in person.
They can call. Here we go again. Right? They can do that too.
call,
Yeah.
they can come into
Yeah.
the office, they can
Yeah.
go online.
Yeah. We have a lovely office in Kennet.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You see, really right. What's the painter that's right beside us?
Oh, yes,
his
Robert
name's-
Jackson.
Robert Jackson, yeah, really
Mhm.
great guy, wonderful painter.
Wonderful painter.
Okay? And so he's been our neighbor for a few years now.
For years, yes.
So yeah, if you want to in Kennet, which is a great little town, if you want to drop into the office, you can do that too.
I'll be there.
Yeah. So
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for
my pleasure.
taking
This is
time
great,
and coming
Brittany.
over.
Yeah, this is great. We really enjoy talking about this orchestra and the
Mhm.
music and everything else. So we hope to see everyone there in next week, right? Next week.
It's
coming
been
up.
great.
Yeah.
And we are here at the Matlock School of Music.
Thank you
with
to them
Dave,
too.
So
yeah.
Thank you for having
right.
us.
This is great. Great
It's been
setup.
Wonderful.
Mm.
We'll be here again, I think. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
and,
Brittany. You
we
too.
hope to see you all at the concert on March 22nd, 3 o'clock. Don't be late. Get your seats. It is assigned seating, so that helps.
Yeah.
You know, you won't get caught in the back if
Nope.
you're.
No,
if
and
you're-
every seat's a good one in the Knauer. That's a great space.
It is
Every
a
seat's
great
a good one.
space.
It's very intimate there, you know, so you can't go wrong.
So
whatever
that
seat
music
you're in.
is just going to wash
That's
over you.
the idea.
All
That's the
right.
idea. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
All right. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.